Hello and welcome to The Information, where you'll get all the information on the latest in electronic, indie pop, experimental music, and more. Today we have an album review. We're reviewing the new Toro Y Moi record, Outer Peace. For those unfamiliar, Toro Y Moi is a singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and producer from South Carolina. His real name is Chaz Bear, although he recently underwent that name change and was formerly known as Chaz Bundick before that. Chaz is mostly known for his debut record, Causers of This, which came out in 2010. It was widely regarded as not only one of the more successful chillwave albums in the genre, but one of the few that kicked off the genre as well, alongside fellow chillwave compatriots Washed Out and Neon Indian with their records Life of Leisure and Psychic Chasms, respectively. Since then, Chaz has spent most of his time making albums dabbling in different genres. Genres like indie folk on his 2011 record Underneath the Pine, contemporary pop and R&B on Anything in Return, in my opinion his best record in 2013, moody trap and R&B on his previous record 2017's Boo Boo, and even psych rock and indie rock on his What For record, which came out in 2015. And that doesn't include his multitude of material with his Les Sins side project, which is a more dancier output, as well as his two mixtapes Samantha and the recent one Soul Trash, which just was released after the release of this record, Outer Peace. The record starts off quite strongly with the energetic intro of Fading, complete with its punchy kick, up-tempo dance percussion, and 808 cowbell. My only nitpick with this track is that the snare is just annoyingly ever so slightly offbeat, though that might not get to you as much as it did to me. Another take it or leave it element of this track is the wild vocal sample that Chaz uses and reuses quite often on this song, but the bass line is super sticky and fun-filled, and the lyrics are pretty straightforward. It's mostly just Chaz mentioning the ephemeral quality of things and just trying to enjoy them while they last. The next track, Ordinary Pleasure, was one that took a while for me to warm up a little bit to it as one of the singles, but within the context of the record I like it quite a bit more. It's got a very loungy, almost spa-like intro, with lots of water rippling and bongos. I like the very chill filtered bass line and the percussion during this part as well. It's very reminiscent to me of his collaborative record in 2017 with the Matson 2, Star Stuff. There's definitely some psychedelic qualities to this song for sure, and a very hazy and wavy synth-smothered chorus. Overall, the song is equal parts breezy and funky. Chaz comes across somewhat humorously as a bit of an old man in this track. He's getting sick of things in pop culture like sex being omnipresent in songs or fashion or pop culture in general. The lines in this song that sum it up pretty nicely are, "I feel like I've seen it all," or "maybe I'm just old," or "maybe I'm just bored." On the next track, Laws of the Universe, we have a sweaty, tropical dance vibe, and some more shuffling, jungly percussion, as well as a very thick bass line. The synth chords are super smooth, and they complement the carefree vibe of the track very nicely. This song also continues Chaz's tongue-in-cheek humor, with its references to LCD Sound System's Daft Punk is Playing at My House, by here saying James Murphy is spinning at my house, as well as a reference to the Kablam cartoon Prometheus and Bob. Overall, the fun and relaxed vibe of the song makes everything very enjoyable and very cheeky. The first real clunker of a track on here is the collaboration with Abra called Miss Me. I felt like this could be something that we would have found on his Samantha mixtape. You got very psychedelic, very reverb vocals from Abra over some minimal spacey synth planks and swelling sub-bass. I find the tempo to be too slow for my liking as well, and the instrumentation is just kinda presented too awkwardly and sloppy to make this a very memorable track. The record quickly rebounds though with the next track, New House. I love this down-tempo, unofficial chillwave anthem that is filled with the wishes of things that Chaz needs or wants. There's a beautiful piano melody here, and I love the Les Sins-inspired jagged synth bass that pops in. There is some trap influence here with Chaz's auto-tune delivery, as well as his ad-libs. However, he's on full anxiety mode here, lamenting the busyness of JFK Airport, and people constantly hitting up his phone, and he just needs to relax. He sings in the song, "I just want a long shower, I've been feeling so crowded," and honestly, who can't relate to that? On the tune Baby Drive It Down, we have some more tropical dance instrumentation with the mid-tempo groove. It's almost dancehall inspired in its snare placement and the vocal delivery slash flow. I do like the sultry, intoxicating atmosphere, but lyrically it's a little slight and scant, and it doesn't really progress too much from where it starts. It definitely feels like this one could have been fleshed out a little bit more. Again, very quickly though, we rebound with the lead single from the album, Freelance. This one's got super slick, funky vibes all across. It's almost Daft Punk inspired, I feel. The synth leads are inspiring, very creative, and the down-pitched vocal cuts are amusing. Chaz's vocal delivery in the intro as well is very interesting and kind of hilarious with how he gradually kind of extends his tongue out as he elongates his words. Also, I did catch that Isaac Brock of Modest Mouse side project reference in the third verse. Overall, lyrically here, Chaz kind of makes mention of the negative connotations of social media and the importance of side hustles. The track Who Am I was also kind of a fun outlier of sorts. There's lots of really nice deep grooves on this one. Synth chords are very wavy here and very chill. On this track, lyrically, Chaz seems to be kind of at odds with what his sound is or should be at this point, or what he wants it to be. But in the end, he does sound pretty content with the dance funk iteration being one he could settle into, especially on lines like "This could be my brand new sound, now I don't know who I am." And on the next cut, Monte Carlo, we are back to the down-tempo sort of trap-inspired R&B songs. This one though I liked a lot more than the Abra cut Miss Me. I like its bouncing beat and the myriad of cooing vocals in the background, which are presumably from Kelly Zutro of the Brooklyn indie R&B duo Wet. I like Chaz's flow on here as well, especially on the second verse when he kind of does the vocal delivery, the PDX to okay. I also appreciate the second Modest Mouse reference on this album with the Isaac Brock I Float Away line. The song's themes here also extend to anxiety, feelings of paranoia, specifically regarding public transportation. Toro talks about his reservations with the Bay Area Rapid Transit or BART system as he now lives in LA, and how Uber, quote, ruined everything. During the chorus, Toro finds solace in driving around in a 1997 Monte Carlo, because it's turn and go instead of just push to start. And to end the record off, we have 50/50, one last trap banger of sorts. This one features guest production from Instupendo, who has worked in the past with Juice WRLD, as well as producing his own solo material. On this one here, we've got some more forlorn piano melodies and atmospheric synths with some disembodied vocals. Chaz is pretty moody on this track and seems bummed about a love lost, perhaps the one that he spent the majority of his last record, Boo Boo, singing about. I get that vibe on lines like, "It wasn't long ago, you and me had to go, but that's how it goes, how it goes." And there's also themes here of him trying to balance his personal life with his work life, which is where the 50/50 reference comes in. It's like a skateboarding reference, I guess, where you like ride the rail exactly like right in the middle, so like your balance is very important. Overall, it's a little less effective than other cuts that are similar to this on the record, like Monte Carlo or New House, but it's not a bad way to finish off the record. And just like that, the record's over. It's very scant with just 10 tracks in 30 minutes, but in its runtime it does deliver a lot of very fun, quirky dance and synth-funk music. I've noticed just reading and watching other reviews of this record that the down-tempo, trap-inspired cuts seem to be the ones that underwhelm the most listeners, but I actually found those to be some of the more engaging ones. Though I definitely feel that Miss Me is the one that does kind of miss the mark quite a bit. I feel like the short run times are what help the songs Monte Carlo and New House. They just kind of say what they need to say and then get out. They don't overstay their welcome at all. So you can't really complain about them too much, I feel. It helps a lot that those songs are actually pretty catchy as well. And like I said, the more up-tempo dance tracks are also a great time, especially the efforts like Laws of the Universe. They rank among some of Toro's best at this point. As I mentioned in my intro, I think this record is a good distillation of all the previous records that Toro has made. I like that it has the R&B and hip-hop vibes of Boo Boo, the laid-back funk energy of Underneath the Pine, the off-kilter dance groove of his Les Sins work, and the dash of Causers era chillwave just peppered in there. Overall, I would feel pretty comfortable giving this thing a decent to strong 7, but of course let me know what you guys thought about the record. Did you agree with what I had to say, or did you think I was off the mark? And do you have a favorite or least favorite track from the record? Also, where do you think Outer Peace ranks in Toro's discography? At this point, I'd probably put it at third best, underneath Anything in Return and Causers of This. But of course, let me know what you guys think. Also, just a quick heads up, I will be in Miami next week for 3 Points, the music festival with a lot of electronic and indie acts there. I'll try to do some sort of post on this channel regarding that, maybe some live footage or something from like my Instagram stories or something. Though I do have my review of the new James Blake record Assume Form written, so I'll probably film that once I get back. But in the meantime, thank you again for watching The Information.